Okay, so the essence of modern technology, the way in which things show themselves in modern technology. Think of it, the metaphysics, the mindset, the interpretation, the comportment, the truth, the mode of revealing of technology, the motive behind it, we've already said is reductionistic, and it's Nietzschean will to power. That is, it's looking at things as if they are controllable. And the key idea about this perspective is what is Heidegger is for Heidegger that it is a framework of interpretation that we impose upon the world. Okay, it actually is we challenge the world, or he actually puts it this way: being challenges us to challenge itself. Which, what the hell does that mean? It just means that being is showing itself in a way such that it makes us challenge the world and reduce its meaning, to one interpretation. And in other words, he calls this Gestell, the essence of modern technology, Gestell. And Gestell just means, Stellen means to put, but I asked a German once what Gestell meant, and we were at a wine bar, and he said, yeah, it's like the wine rack over there. It's like a kind of shelf or a rack where you put things in. And so Heidegger thinks the metaphysics or essence of modern technology or interpretation of modern technology is a kind of framework where things have to come through, a kind of prism that they have to come through. And we only count them as real if we can control them and manipulate them, if we can understand their being in terms of mechanistic causality. That's the essence of modern technology, okay? So the essence of modern technology as Gestell, as a framework, Gestell just means framework, basically in German. Think of it as a kind of construct, okay? Where we, we bring to the world or we bring upon the world, we challenge the world to come through a certain perspective, a certain interpretation, the perspective or the interpretation, where we reduce the meaning of being or of the world or whatever of reality to one meaning. And what is that one meaning? Controllability. Things only count as real is if they can be controlled. So how do they have to count as real in order to be controlled? What do they have to look like? How do we have to understand them in order to control them? That's the question. So if the perspective or the framework is only counting things as real if we can control them, how do we have to understand them in order to control them? And Heidegger says very simply, think of the way we understand things in terms of in modern science. Think of Descartes' discourse on method, where we're masters and possessors of nature, or the way Galileo understood things, namely as things are understood as quantitative mechanistic matter in motion. Quantitative, that is, we can quantify them, we can apply numbers to them. They're mechanistic, they're in a kind of blind causal nexus, and it's just matter in motion. So you could almost think of this in terms of the four Aristotelian causes. The efficient cause and the material cause come to the floor. That is, there's matter moving, right, that we can quantify, whereas the essence of things, or what things really are and their purpose, are completely stripped, okay? And the way he puts it is this way. The essence of technology, as Gestell, I almost fell out of my chair, is the challenging of man that challenges things to appear in a certain way, namely as Bestand, or things to be controlled. Bestand just simply means stock, right? Stand means to stand there, and Bestand means it's just standing there. So we challenge the world to appear as stuff that we can just stockpile away on a shelf. That's what he thinks the essence of modern technology is. And in order to see things as if they're Bestand, we have to understand them as quantities in a causal nexus. That's it. And last thing, two things about Bestand, really. So the framework challenges things to appear as Bestand, and Bestand are simply things to be mastered, things to be controlled. And these things to be controlled must be deworlded. Remember, for Heidegger, we are Dasein as in der Weltsein, that is, being swimming in a world of meaning. We are being in the world. And when I first encounter a book, right, my encounter with the book isn't as an object to a subject. It's as something that I read as it's as something disclosed in light of my existential possibilities, right? So I read this to find information. I'm not even thinking about the book. I'm transcending it to its meaning. Well, in order to see things in or the modern mode of technology as the modern framework as Gestell, and seeing things through the prism of Gestell as Bestand, we have to strip away meaning. We have to deworld the world. Now, this is nihilism for Heidegger, precisely because we get caught in this interpretation of being without realizing it's an interpretation of being, and we can't get back to the world. We can't come back to the world of meaning. We can't get back to Dasein as being in the world. This is reductionism par excellence, too.